Hey, Mr. James, welcome to Kiel. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir, just fine. This is it's a pretty important day today and tomorrow. I would have met. Well, you've got the work session today, the regular meeting tomorrow, city council meeting, and I would imagine the highlight of both days will be the proposed $220 million bond deal. You've had a chance to look. What's your initial thought? What are you thinking about $220 million?
Well, I don't think it ever intended to be 220. I think it's going to be a lot less. And I mean, 220 was the starting point, but no way was it going to be 220.
So the mayor is Ezekiel Elliott. You guys are Jerry Jones. He's starting at 220. What's your counteroffer?
Well, he doesn't have a vote. As you know, he doesn't get a vote. And so the council will decide what he presents. I think you'll find that he's given a little bit, and we might give a little bit, and so we'll have something far, far less. I think we're probably right now about 180, and it could come a little lower.
Having spoken
but there's no way it'd be 220.
Having spoken last week to council people, to Butcher and to Fuller, they sort of voiced the same reservations that 220 was awful high, but one of their other problems with the $220 million amount was a lack of specificity on the mayor's part. How about you?
I disagree. I'm not for delaying it. The citizens will have the final say. They will either vote it up or down, and today and tomorrow we will carve it out as to what it's going to be, but I'm not postponing it. I have 3.5 years left on my term. I promised the citizens that I would get things done. Then what we're talking about public safety. We're talking about streets and drainage.
We rushed this, though. Why the rush?
Why not? That's what we're there for. We were elected to go down and make decisions. I don't know why the delay. I mean, we know we've got buildings that are in bad shape. They're leaking. We got streets that are horrible. We got streets that hadn't been overlaid in 40 years. I'm talking about secondary streets. So I'm going to tell my citizens in my district, if you'll have an opportunity to vote it up or down, but give them a chance. If they want the street out in front of their house overlaid, then we're going to have some street money.
Mr. James, if you thought the mayor's $220 million amount was a little too high, what is it that you and the other council people agree that has to go?
Well, the $15 million housing and the $25 million for the regional police and fire academy, and then some of the pricing on fire trucks we're going to have to change that thought. What we've been buying, we need to buy a cheaper fire truck, have fire trucks replaced at 5-year intervals, but we're going to need to do a few things for better buy for a buck. And
what must be in this? What is got to be there?
Streets and drainage and public safety has to be. We have got to do something different in the police department. What we've been doing through the door-to-door days and forward, it's not working, and we need substations. The mayor ran on that, and I've been advocating that for some time. But we have got to change our strategy in the police.
Do you want to see specific streets and drainage projects mentioned in this bond issue?
Oh, absolutely, and you can rest assured that it's already happening.
Okay.
As we get there tomorrow and Tuesday, you're going to see specific things that we're spending on. I heard a lot of people criticize, say, well, how do we know that you're going to spend money on what we say? That's number one. Then I say to them, each council, Ollie Tyler did a beautiful strategy. She gave every city council district, streets, name by name, what she was going to overlay and the amount of money. And I believe you will see that coming forth today and tomorrow. Specific streets that are going to be in this package. And so people say, well, what about the money? That money, once you give it to a council district, it's going to be hard to get away from my fingers wrapped around it.
Let me ask you one thing about police substations. They tried them in Baton Rouge. They ended up closing them years ago, though.
Well, that's
do we know it? Do we know it's working now?
Aaron, you're not right.
Okay.
You're telling people wrong on that. I heard you say that last. What happened was the police department received a hospital that they gave it to them. One station was close to that they closed. So don't say that, because that's not right.
Okay.
Mr. James, the people on the council, the members of the council who originally, you kind of knew they were going to back the mayor's $220 million proposal. If you and the council, if you're going to take away about 100 million, 110 million of it down to around, let's say 110 million or whatever it was, do you think that'll be enough for them? Or is there a possibility that they will be against it because it's too small?
I think they'll have to make that decision on their own. They're going to have to explain to their citizens how they got it. You remember Roy Burrell, when the Keith Hightower administration, he voted against everything. Well, it passed. The citizens passed it. He got nothing. So you don't want to get caught absolutely nothing for your district, because that's what they send you down there for, is to not bring the bacon home, but get their streets repaired, get their quality of life back.
And do you think a vote could come as soon as tomorrow?
Oh yes, I expect it to come tomorrow. We can't delay. We've got to get it moving. We can't just keep beating this to death. We've been at it. We know what the problems are. It's not the fact that we don't know what the problems are, because we know what they are. We hear from citizens every day. And I believe you'll see some digital water meters in there. SWEPCO and Centerpoint read their meters with I don't know what you call that, but it's a hand device. But you take out the human error. People call me every day. I've got calls as of Saturday. You didn't read my meter right. You hadn't read my meter. And so we hire these people, pay them $15 an hour, and they work about 2 months. Say, I ain't doing this, too much walking, or they quit. But here's the deal, opportunity. If this is the smart tech that I'll support and nothing else, I will support putting in digital water meters, so that we can cut our cost on reading them and get accuracy, just like SWEPCO and Centerpoint Energy.
Councilman Flurry, you've been a proponent of, let's look at some existing buildings we could possibly use for the police station. Maybe Millennial Studios, the Sears building's been mentioned. Are those some things we need to look at closely before we decide how much to spend on a new police station?
Well, you're right, Aaron, but here's the deal. Millennium, I don't think we can touch it. I think it's under contract, and I don't think we can break that contract. Sears would be an ideal thing, but the mayor will have to negotiate that and come up with it. There's a piece of property out in my area that I've been pushing, but we have to talk to the owners of it, see if we can't get it. It'd be an ideal location. The school over there on Quillen Street that's empty, the parish school board has got numerous buildings that perhaps we could get, I don't want to say a bargain, but, we could save a lot of money.